Today we're driving the 2026 GMC Terrain. This is the AT4, the off-road focused version of GMC's entry-level compact SUV. Let's walk you guys around this today. We'll talk about what's new for 2026, notably the AT4 and Denali trims. You can also get the base elevation trim with front-wheel drive and a CVT. However, this has all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic transmission mated to a 1.5-liter four-cylinder. Anyway, let's start it up, walk you guys around it, and then we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some driving impressions. Upon startup, we are greeted by two big, beautiful displays. We have Google built in. Google Maps is your native navigation system. You can also connect wirelessly to CarPlay or Android Auto. The screen is responsive, big. We have a volume knob right here that kind of shows us a graphic in the display too as to how high your volume is. You can mute the volume right there to your left. You've got volume and track selection controls behind the steering wheel. This has a heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats. The AT4 starts at around $40,000 with options. This is just shy of 43 grand. Interior looks pretty well designed, lots of horizontal lines, nice surfaces. I like the leather finishing on everything. This AT4 has a little bit more of an aggressive seat design. We have some nice stitching in here and cloth inlays as well as an AT4 stitched logo right there. Visibility is good. We also get a digital rear view mirror. It's easy to get in and out of. And then this volcanic red tint coat, I think, looks especially striking, especially on these general grabber all-terrain tires. The front end features this X-wing graphic that we see in some of their trucks. For the AT4, we get front recovery hooks, which are functional, as well as underbody skid plating and protection. We have specifically tuned off-road suspension for the AT4. McPherson strut front suspension with hydraulic rebound stops that helps that clunk on rebound if you're going over big bumps. There's also an extra half-inch of ground clearance here, making this 7.9 inches of ground clearance at the curb. We have 17-inch tires on 235/65 R17 General Grabber ATs. A pretty nice looking all-terrain tire, quiet on the highway. They feel pretty much like a highway terrain, but they look a little bit more aggressive. The GMC Terrain also has these fender lights here. Brings a bit of a premium element to the design. Going around the back, nice wide stance, chunky proportions. This 1.5-liter four-cylinder is rated for 24 miles per gallon in the city, 26 on the highway. It makes 175 horsepower, 203 pound-feet of torque. Let's start in the back. Pop the tailgate. We'll show you guys what the key fob looks like here. You've got a button to pop the tailgate and remote start it. Really nice interior packaging in these GMCs. You've got a lot of space, a little bit of room underneath here to store more cargo. Rear seats fold down pretty flat with just a little bit of a hump here, and lots of room in the back of this for a compact SUV. This can also tow up to 1,500 pounds in all-wheel drive form. Just remove this cover right there, and there's your hitch. This takes regular fuel. I like the capless filler. And in the back seat, let's see what space feels like back here. I like this little keeper for these seat belts. Keeps them from rattling around. Just slide it in there. Easy access to your ISOFIX points if you want to install car seats, and a really flat floor for that middle passenger too. You get heated seats back here in the AT4 trim, one of 3 different levels, kind of a stadium seating design. Adjust that headrest with a button on the side. Pretty comfortable. Armrest, plenty of headroom, plenty of room to stretch out my feet underneath. This driver's seat is lowered all the way. Again, super easy to get in and out of in the back seat too. Let's take a look at this 1.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder. It's a little bit droney at higher revs, but it makes decent power. Ecotec is reasonably fuel efficient, and paired with this 8-speed auto, it seems to be responsive enough. For what this is, an A to B car that can maybe hit a trail here and there, take you camping, go a little bit off the beaten path, with its terrain mode, which has a one-pedal drive function similar to the terrain modes in the Hummer EV or the GMC Canyon. We've got some different traction control tuning too, and it only limits you to the first 2 gears off-road, which is kind of cool. You can also keep the front cameras or 360 cameras running at speed in terrain mode. Let's hop back inside, we'll walk you around the interior a little bit more, and then we'll go for a drive. Seats are comfortable, lots of adjustability here with our driving position. We get a tilting, telescoping wheel. In its lowest position, I feel like this driver's seat is still maybe a little bit higher than I would want it to, but we have lots of headroom, so that's not really a concern. If anything, it just kind of gives you that commanding higher driving position that people like from their crossovers and SUVs. No sunroof. We get a place to put our sunglasses up here. Nice big visors that slide. Without the digital rearview mirror, we still have very good visibility out of the rear window. Same with the sides, a little bit of a blind spot in that C-pillar, but otherwise, looking around here, everything looks pretty good, as well as a nice low hood line. Gauge cluster is clear, easy to read. You have a few different displays that you can option out. This map view, another map view. I think that's if you're connected to CarPlay, and then your driving assistance view. I kind of prefer this more traditional gauge cluster with a tach and a digital speedometer. Infotainment, super responsive, which I really appreciate. We've got a bunch of different settings and controls, quick access controls here for our cameras. Oh, and look at this, a column shifter in a crossover. I love a column shifter. It frees up space, it's quick and easy to use. Nice mix of physical buttons or physical controls and digital icons here. Everything is responsive, so I don't really have too many complaints about this infotainment. Your light controls are down here. Your lane keep assist is right there. It's a double press to turn it off. You have heated and ventilated seats down here. Auto climate control. You can set your temperature with these toggle switches as well as your fan speed. That's great. Quick access to your air recirculation if you're following a stinky truck. Everything here seems to be really well laid out and available within a single button press or two. I don't find myself hunting through a bunch of menus to access things that I'd be using on a regular basis in this terrain. Plenty of storage here. We've got USB-C and Type-A ports, water bottle, cup holders, wireless charging, a really nice deep storage bin in there. For this size of a car, this is pretty massive. Good sized glove box as well, and a little bit of storage underneath here that you can share with the driver and passenger, maybe put a bag or something. Good water bottle storage down there as well. And I like this door handle, it just feels good in hand. Also a button right there to pop the rear tailgate. All of your drive mode selection is done over here to the left, so normal, off-road, tow haul, snow, ice, terrain. And because this is selectable all-wheel drive, you can push the all-wheel drive button right there to engage it. You'll see down here it says two-wheel drive, you engage it, it'll say all-wheel drive. You'll hear a little actuator do its thing, and you're in all-wheel drive mode. If you're in the rain or the snow or the sand or going off-road, in the off-road modes, all-wheel drive will automatically activate. There's even a physical button to turn off auto stop start, which I appreciate. You get 2-seat memory settings. Mirrors are nice and big with blind spot monitoring. Here's what your reverse camera looks like. And I like that off-road, you can see a side view of those front wheels. Look at that, front and rear wheels. Nice. There's an above front camera view, and then just a forward or rear facing camera. All right, let's head out and give you guys some street driving impressions on this new GMC Terrain AT4. Steering is light. Honestly, all your inputs here feel pretty similar to what we've seen from GMC in the last few years. No major gotchas or surprises. Ride quality is nice on these 17-inch tires. Pretty quiet over bumps too, minimal NVH. You can hear a little bit of a faint howl from these all-terrain tires, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet in here. 8-speed auto is pretty smooth. Brakes have good bite. Steering is light. It's an easy vehicle to drive. Let's see how it does around a corner here. Probably not as athletic as a GMC Terrain without the all-terrain tires, but still corners decently. Little bit of body motion there around the corner. This 1.5 liter turbo and 8-speed automatic don't love to be pushed hard. Kickdown can have a little bit of a delay if you're trying to make a pass. Overall, though, power seems acceptable for what this car is. I think the big wins here are packaging, tech, materials, design, and the powertrain and the sound system are kind of the only big letdowns with this new GMC Terrain. I listened to the sound system quite a bit on my way over here from Detroit, and to be honest, it's pretty disappointing for a premium compact SUV. Adaptive cruise control on the highway works pretty well. You get one of 3 different gap adjust following distance settings, and we only have lane departure warning. It's a little bit windier today, but I did notice this wandering around a little bit on the highway. You definitely want to keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel in this GMC Terrain. If you find yourself distracted with the screen for a couple seconds, you might be halfway into the next lane. It does wander around a little bit just because the steering is a bit vague. Part of that maybe could be the all-terrain tires. There's lots of standard driving assistance and safety tech in this GMC Terrain. A lot of side collision warning systems for cyclists, for pedestrians. In two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive mode right now. Getting a little bit of wheel spin coming out of that corner. Let's put us into all-wheel drive. See if that improves handling at all. We'll knock out a quick 0 to 60 here too. Just rolling into it. A little bit of a fall out of boost and a hesitation with that 2-3 shift. Again, not a powertrain that enjoys being hustled around. And it gets kind of droney over 4,000 RPM. When you're just driving this around normally, though, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly comfortable. Even in all-wheel drive mode, getting a bit of wheel spin from those front tires as it sends power to the back. This is still going to be a very front-biased all-wheel drive system. All right, we'll toss this around a corner one last time as we hit this highway entrance ramp. I like the brakes here. Nice, strong, confident pedal. Good bite. Bit of complaining there from the general grabbers. And there is a weird hesitation after shifting from this powertrain. I don't know if it's the engine or if it's the tuning or if it's the 8-speed auto, but it just doesn't want to go after changing gear. It takes a minute to get back into boost, even though it's still pretty high up in the rev range. I like your armrests. Both are pretty soft touch points. Feel about right here for holding the steering wheel. I feel like I still have a pretty high driving position in this Terrain AT4. Not quite level with some trucks, but high enough so that I can see around me really well. Closest following distance on the highway feels about right. I don't feel like I'm holding up traffic behind me or anything using adaptive cruise control here. while we're just cruising, let's go in and do a quick sound system test. A lot of clicks to turn up the volume here. I actually think this might be one of the worst sound systems we have ever tested. Right up there next to the Volkswagen Jetta's bass audio system. All right, so how can we sum up some thoughts on the 2026 GMC Terrain AT4? You guys know me, I always like a soft roader, off-roader package for a compact crossover. I think it's cool to see a tiny little crossover on big all-terrain tires with a little bit of a lift kit. Opens up some capability for it on the trails. I think that, we haven't tested this off-road, but I assume that GMC's terrain mode has been pretty well developed, and they figured out how this is supposed to do some things off-road in articulation situations. Unibody crossovers don't really have a lot of suspension articulation, so you have to kind of lean on the traction control systems to get you through different terrain and different obstacles off-road. So I assume GMC has figured their stuff out because they know what they're doing with the Hummer, the Canyon, and some of their other off-road offerings in their trucks. So ground clearance is probably going to be your biggest limiting factor here, just because it only has 7.9 inches of ground clearance, not a ton, but approach and departure angles seem to be pretty decent in this GMC Terrain. Again, it'll get you to the campsite. You're not going to be doing rock crawling with this thing, but I appreciate that they've gone through a little extra effort than some companies to make this a more off-road focus or capable crossover with the extra suspension lift, the rebound control, and the all-terrain tires. So anyway, high hopes for this off-road if you are a more adventure-oriented buyer, and I think it's a nice looking package too. Packaging in here is excellent. Lots of space, lots of room. You can fit the whole family in here along with some stuff in the back for a vacation or a weekend out. I like the tech. I think everything in here works well. It's an easy enough car to use and operate and drive. When you start to push it, it's not a very good performance vehicle. It's just not very fun to drive. It feels like it's being tortured when you're revving out the engine. If you don't have a lead foot, you're probably going to enjoy the driving experience of this GMC Terrain just fine. If you do, you might want to look at something with a slightly more refined powertrain in this class. All right, we're going to hit the park button on our column shifter, walk you guys around this one more time, and that'll be a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Also, I'm just looking to see if there were any audio controls. I don't see anything. I think it's just you've got volume levels for different things in the system, but that's about it. Yeah, so there's no equalizer or music controls here. You've just got CarPlay. Okay. There's a full climate menu. It is really nice to have ventilated seats in something like this. Warmer day today outside, about 80 degrees Fahrenheit later on, and I think those will come in real handy. Give you guys some normal driving here in the GMC Terrain. Fuel economy ratings seem to be pretty accurate. On my way out here, I averaged about 25 miles to the gallon. That was probably with a little bit of idling, looking and trying to figure out where I was going to go. And we only have 453 miles on this particular car.